Welcome to Spiritual Nuggets Podcast, where you have the opportunity to enjoy His presence in miniature portions. These are not oversized, repetitive expressions that lose their value. They are nuggets, larger than a crumb, yet small enough for you to enjoy in a single sitting. So, take a moment to listen and let these nuggets feed your soul. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Spiritual Nuggets Podcasts, where we pause for a moment of reflection, encouragement, and acknowledgement of the love of God. As a prelude to episode 15, I would just like to reflect for a moment on my recently published book, Rainbow Outside the Clouds. It focuses on the expression of Jesus' unconditional love for all of humankind. As you read the book, there is no doubt your thoughts will be stirred regarding compassion and understanding, characteristics you far too often forget. Our book trailer can be found at www.YvonneMallory.com. Episode 15 recognizes how a natural and beneficent purposed feeling can become a paralyzing, depressing hindrance with no foreseeable solution. Frequently, events, situations, and news resemble weeds that choke life from your garden. Yet there is a way to keep your garden healthy. Despite the weeds, if you shift your focus during this onslaught to the expert who produces fruit, get to know your expert. How to harvest peace despite the weeds of fear. Lately, the amount of noise, yes, I said noise, overloading my email, television, and mobile phone has been heavier and louder than a freight train carrying 18,000 tons of cargo. I call it noise because with little digression, the information is usually depressing, fear-producing, divisive, abrasive, and noticeably unpleasant. Surviving this assault on our senses and emotion requires a paradigm shift from the message of fear, false evidence appearing real, to unwavering faith that someone with greater intellect than humankind is handling the situation. The number of negative reports is as numerous as ants finding that open bag of sugar in your cupboard. But for the sake of encouragement, let's take a brief stroll down the sidewalk of positives. Beginning with the weather, we are still in the winter season in the year in which I live, and we optimistically expect rain. Some parts of the country are cool or cold, and in a lot of places there's snow. But what if this were the temperature in a country where the humidity can seem like a gazillion, and people are continually sweating with limited options for staying cool? Or imagine living in a country where the annual temperatures remain in the negative range, a tad above zero. How many uncomfortable, seemingly hopeless situations have you encountered? If you reflect on a few of these, you may remember that your uncomfortable situation or situations was temporary for a season. One of the most life-changing events for all of us was COVID-19. Its initial entrance on the scene was like having a nightmare. Fear seemed to resemble an unchecked pack of wolves throughout our country with global and far-reaching effects. It forced us to change our entire lives. But the outcome of some of these changes were life-saving. We learned to appreciate the value of hand sanitizers and wipes. Some of us even hoarded toilet paper. Wonder where it all went once the crisis passed. Far too often we forget to seek God as our source in every situation. Yes, COVID got our attention spiritually and emotionally. It still lingers like cigarette smoke. But this country still exists because God is ever present to love, heal, and protect. Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. Apart from me, you can do nothing. God's vine does not harvest weeds, it only brings forth fruit. To assure us that he keeps his word, the Holy Bible is filled with near misses of doom in the Old and New Testaments. The great Paul, apostle to the Gentiles, was stoned, beaten, bitten by a deadly snake, shipwrecked, hungry, thirsty, cold, naked, homeless, and persecuted. He survived all those things and much more. Having complete faith in God, he wrote, The Lord rescued me from out of them all. The fruits of his rescue resulted in his establishment of several churches and writing over 1/3 of the New Testament. In the Old Testament, jealousy inspired Joseph's brothers to come up with a plot to kill him and throw him into a pit. Over time, Joseph was sold twice, accused of adultery by his employer's wife, and placed in prison. However, after several stormy years, Joseph was restored by Pharaoh and placed second in command over Egypt. Like a shrewd CFO, Jacob's financial actions over Egypt put him in a position where he was able to save the entire land from famine. The outcome yielded an abundance for a greater number of people. Joseph speaks to his brothers. You intended to harm me, but God intended for good to accomplish what is now being done. When circumstances kick down your door and shove their darts into your life, remember the word of truth, I will be with you, always, yes, even to the end of the age. Do pray, laugh, pour out love on your family, encourage others, take a walk, renew your thoughts. Replace your false evidence, fear, with faith in the one who is always with you and is a guaranteed weed killer.